Welcome, everybody, to the Super Mario All-Stars All 4 Any Percent Tournament. I am your host, Takate. Alongside of me, I have your other co-host, Esmo88. Esmo, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. Ready to see a great match between the 1 seed ymgc and the 4 seed Mars. And we were just talking before this about how this tournament is kind of played out based on the seeds. Like the high seed is always won, and now we're left with the 1 through 4 seed in the winner's bracket. So this should be a good one.
Yeah, it definitely should. It looks like they are underway in SRL. I'm sure the stream will catch up in just a second. So good luck to both runners. I do want to say that Mars advanced by beating Revelite with a time of 34:52. ymgc advanced by beating Royale Gamer, also known as Royale T, with a time of 33:56. Also, their PBs, those are actually their PB times. My apologies. That's ymgc's PB 33:56 and Mars 34:52. So should be a pretty close race, and they are often at it. We're going to go in chronological order: SMB1, SMB2J, SMB2U, and then SMB3. And again, these are all any percent, so we will be going through the games as fast as possible, taking warps if we need to, and both runners are through 1-1 with Mars just slightly ahead.
Yeah, we noticed no timer on Mars, so we're just kind of playing it by ear here. We'll go by SRL time to catch the winner if it is a close race. But yeah, both runners into 1-2 with Mushroom, and I expect to see both of them pick up a flower right here, the very beginning.
Yep, both successfully pick up the Fire Flower. Now they need to come into this tight section with the Koopas and the Goombas and avoid taking any hits. Nicely done by both players there. So clean through the beginning of 1-2, and now they'll take the Warp Zone into World 4-1. Got them synced up there. So, yeah, they are pretty much neck and neck. Maybe
ymgc with a slight lead coming out of 1-2.
Yeah, just barely. 4-1 is just run through, and Lakitu won't hurt you at all if you keep running through. Should be one of the easier levels in the speedrun of the whole game. I mean, all four categories, all four levels in games, I should say. One of the easiest levels in the speedrun, and no problem for either runner at this point. ymgc getting the 340, as is Mars. We're on to 4-2. You want to talk about 4-2, Esmo?
4-2, the most infamous level in speedrunning, right? So you're going to see a wrong warp, and since both of them are big, I'm expecting to see a crouch slide under the first one tile gap in this level, which they'll stand up after they get under there. You'll see it here, and it will push them forward. And so that kind of works just like the wrong warp would in like any percent on NES. It pushes them forward, and then they'll go down this pipe, and that will take them into the warp zone.
And ymgc with just a slightly cleaner pipe entry than Mars to maintain the slimmest of margins. But these two going into World 8, fractions of a second apart. Yeah. ymgc just barely leading Mars. 8-1 with the Fire Flower is very nice to have on All-Stars. If you lose the Fire Flower before you get to 8-1, it's a lot tougher because these Piranha Plant hitboxes are not like the NES version of the Piranha Plant hitboxes. These hitboxes are much more accurately defined on this remade version of SMB1 and, of course, All-Stars in general. So both players going through 8-1 cleanly so far, and again, they're pretty much tied at this point.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a good SMB1 so far. Of course, we're not even, or maybe about a little over halfway through as we get through that level, based on how much time it takes to beat the first game in this run. But yeah, very close so far, and looking forward to see how they get through 8-2 here.
Oh, and ymgc takes a little bunk on the stairs. That'll open up a tiny lead for Mars, but he didn't lose his Fire Flower. That was the most important thing, not losing that, because the rest of World 8 is pretty challenging without fire. You really want to make sure you keep that. Mars, nice snipes on the Koopas there. Same for ymgc. And Mars clean with a 342 on the timer. ymgc going to have to avoid the 6 on the timer. He gets a 335. That's important because if you got a 336 with that 6 in the ones digit, he would have gotten 6 fireworks. That would have cost him a little over 3 seconds in time. So it's better to take that 1 in-game second delay and avoid those fireworks.
Definitely, and definitely the most important thing is that they make it into this level, especially with fire. It makes this level almost trivial. The Hammer Bros, it doesn't really matter what they do. You're either going to run under them or you're going to shoot them, as long as you got fire. So And looks like Mars making it through good with a bump there to avoid fireworks. And we'll see a little bit of a slowdown for YMGC to avoid fireworks. He might lose a frame rule getting the bottom of the flagpole there, but avoiding fireworks is definitely more important.
So Mars with a few second lead over YMGC heading into our last level of the first of the 4 runs. So we're almost through one of the 4 speed runs here. This is a bit of a maze level. You got to make sure you go down the correct pipe and everything like that. Otherwise, you will loop back to the beginning of the level. Mars, very nice, clean climb there on the coin block. YMGC, same as well. Nicely done. You will see Mars do a wrong warp here. He actually was not intended to go down that pipe, but he tricked the game into thinking he was going to go down to the next pipe and then turned back and went down to the first pipe. And that actually will take you into the water section just as well.
And now
under
Mars,
the fire bar.
I was going to say, Mars actually used a duck swim method there to shrink his hitbox, in which you're not able to use Fire Flower. YMGC not using that, wanting to use fire through there on the bloopers. And
Mars
there's
takes a hit.
the first game.
Yep, takes a hit to the hammers, as does YMGC, and they finish about 6 seconds apart. So nicely done, Mars in the lead after 1 game with about a 6-second lead. Going into SMB2J, also known as the Lost Levels. The reason we call it 2J is because this is the original SMB2. It was released in Japan back in 1986 for the Famicom Disk System, but was not released in the United States of America. Apparently it was too hard for Americans or something, so they decided to put in this other game with vegetables and stuff.
Right. This is the first version that we got in the US of Lost Levels, so you probably grew up like playing this as a kid if you had All-Stars, and this was actually the first version that was released in the US of Lost Levels.
So we are into 1-2. Both runners very clean through 1-1. Actually is a deceptively tough level. So nicely done by both runners to get through 1-1 without taking any hits. And of course, if you take a hit at Small Mario, you'd be taking a death. So here you'll see them climb up to the top. Just keep popping around up on the top here, get the platform, and then they'll go above up top here so that they go into this hidden, I wouldn't say hidden pipe, but a pipe that is a little bit further on. Instead of going to the one down here that you see YMGC passing now, he's going to go into the next one. So you'll see Mars grab the power up, as you'll say similarly for YMGC. And got to do the climb, get the climb emote out in chat if you have it. And we are now into World 4 for Mars.
Interesting to see that both of these runners, through every level we've seen from them so far, they seem to be taking almost identical strats. And we'll see a fire pickup from Mars here, and we'll probably see the exact same fire pickup here from YMGC. You'll see a lot of runners in this game. Either they'll get fire, and those are the spots where they'll get them, or they might stay small. I know when I've played this game, I really like to stay small just to have that smaller hitbox. I'm more comfortable with it, but both these runners definitely comfortable with fire and using the same strats.
For sure, and now they are into 4-2, which for this particular game, Lost Levels is the easiest level in the speed run, but you never want to consider anything too easy, especially in a race, because once you start to, relax and get a little casual, then that's when things can go wrong. So you always got to make sure you maintain your focus even through the simpler levels, and Mars doing so nicely avoids the hammer there.
That was a pretty scary looking hammer there on Mars's screen, but yeah, that was pretty awesome to see him avoid it. And YMGC with a good dodge too.
Woo! So he had to do a little bit of a slowdown. Mars didn't end up slowing down, but YMGC did a slowdown. So I believe that'll be another 1 or so frame rules lost, extending Mars's lead just a little bit further. So Mars almost halfway through the second of the 2 games. Oh, and he gets a bad build, notices it, or maybe that was a safety strat he decided to take. Either way, nicely done to avoid having to hit any of the bullet bills here. Okay, so this YMGC doing the same strategy. That's got to be a safety strat they're using for the races.
Yeah, that looked like just the way they've set it up, it did look like a safety strat. So good for both of them to pull off that safety strat. YMGC avoiding the fireworks there. That's very good that he avoided the 6 fireworks there.
Yeah, the fireworks work a little bit differently in SMB2J than they do in SMB1. In SMB1, if you just ended the level with a 1-3-6 on the 1's digit of the timer, you'd either get 1, 3, or 6 fireworks. In SMB2J, it's if the 1's digit of your coin count matches the 1's digit of your timer. If it's an odd number, then you'll get 3 fireworks, and if it's an even number, you'll get 6 fireworks. So you always want to avoid matching your ones digit of your coin count to your ones digit of your timer. And Mars through 4-4, YMGC getting the fire kill on Bowser just barely.
Almost got pinned between the
little
wall.
nervy. Yeah, and we are on to World 5.
Both players got the ceiling clip in 4-4, which I thought was really cool to see, by the way. At the end of 5-1, I'm going to guess that both players are going to go for this. Mars, if he's watching, he might know he's got a little bit of a lead and might not go for this super jump, but I think he's comfortable enough to go for it. So we'll see a super jump at the very end of this level, most likely from both players, where they're going to hit the last Paracupa just right to get like an extremely high height off of the bounce and get him over this final wall.
So there it is. He shoots, walks, and gets the super jump, but he didn't quite get enough height or the correct angle on it, and he has to do the climb of shame. Oh, goodness. And YMGC just going straight for the climb strategy. So that actually will gain him some time, though, because he didn't have to jump all the way up to the top, fall all the way down like Mars did, and then climb back up. So he did gain a little bit of time on Mars there. So that super jump actually is new physics for SMB2J versus SMB1. You bounce higher off of Koopas in 2J than you do in 1, and especially if you're closer to walking speed, you'll bounce even higher. So that's how the super jump works, is you got to get down to walking speed when you bounce off of that Koopa, and you'll get launched way up there. And we saw Mars almost make it up to the top on the first try, but unfortunately didn't quite. And now he will be taking the Vine into the warp zone to warp to World 8.
Yep, we got YMGC taking that Vine up as well. Again, just a clean SMB2J so far. Just very, very minor mistakes from both, but still a great run from both, and still staying pretty neck and neck.
Absolutely, and really nice fire kill from Mars there at the beginning of 8-1. We'll see YMGC. He decides to do the duck version, and he takes a hit to the Goomba. Oh my goodness, good thing he had the iframes, because the turtle, or the Buzzy Beetle shell was coming at him too, and he almost hits the Piranha Plant there.
Yep.
Woo! Okay, but he makes it through with Mushroom, so at least he has his large hitbox here to get across that 8-1 gap, and he gets through the Hammer Brothers section, but not the next one. That's okay. That Fireflower grab will act like a mushroom grab, and will turn him back to big. So at least he has his big power-up state here, while Mars is already partway into 8-2.
Yeah, 8-2 is pretty fun level. You actually have to hit this block off of this Koopa right there, and then make sure not to break that brick. Otherwise, you got to basically play the whole level over. Mars doing a great job right there, playing it safe, not breaking the brick. And hopefully we'll see the same thing here from YMGC. YMGC, I'm wondering if he's going to pick up fire again. His next chance would be an 8-3, though it is a little bit awkward to get.
Yeah, it's definitely
so we'll see what he does there.
Definitely an awkward power-up grab, but it's a nice one to have. He could just opt to wait for 8-4, where there are a couple of power-up grabs available to him as well.
True.
So we'll just have to see what option he takes.
Yeah, he might just try to play big the whole time. He might save his mushroom for a damage boost somewhere. But we'll find out here in a second. Mars making quick work of 8-3. Got to do a little shimmy step right there on that pulley platform, and he is on to 8-4.
YMGC going through the level, and looks like he's just going to take the whole level with no power-up. Getting past the Hammer Brothers nicely, so that's well done on his part. And also doing the shimmy on the elevators and making his way to 8-4. I do expect we'll see him powering up in 8-4, because it will be nice to have the fire for when you get to Bruce and Bowser in the final room of 8-4.
And Mars doing a little bit of a duck swim there. A little bit awkward through there, but he makes it through without really losing any significant amount of time. Now we got this G room, and he does a good turnaround there. And let's see. I'm just waiting to see if YMGC is going to pick up the power up in the next room, or if he's going to just play big.
This G room here, there's a power up. Is he going to grab it here, or is he going to grab it? He's going to grab it elsewhere. So Mars entering the final room. Everybody say hi to Bruce. Will Bruce be nice? He is nice. Bruce is a pal, man. I love Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. I might be thinking that YMGC is just not going to power up at all here.
Yeah, that's also possible. He's gonna have to play it a little safe here. Woo, nicely done.
I've
And
never
yeah,
seen anyone jump that gap like that. That's
me either.
pretty cool to see.
And Bruce is always a pal. He's even
The
nice.
double nice Bruce.
So ymgc. Look at this, you guys. Bruce is amazing.
Mars onto the US version, or the rest of the world's version of Mario 2 here. And you're going to see a lot of Toad in this run. So Toad runs faster when you pick up an enemy and carry it over your head. So you're going to see, like I said, a lot of that. You're going to see some weird save and quit that's going to happen later, which is actually, you can only do it in this version. So I actually forget which worlds it is, but I'll show you when we get to it. And Mars, I don't know if he was trying to go for a ladder clip there or what exactly he was doing, but he's going to make his way on into the Birdo fight. And ymgc kind of taking Luigi here for the first level, which is just kind of making me a liar, making me eat my words, saying you're going to see a lot of Toad here.
Well, that's one of the cool things about SMB2U is the character choice can really come down to runner preference without losing large amounts of time. There's certainly optimal strategies, but then there's also, race strategies that you may just be more comfortable with that would only lose nominal amounts of time just for extra safety.
Yeah, I'm guessing since, all right, so we see Mars set up the carpet glitch here to get a fast carpet. You can do that with any character, I believe, but it is faster and easier to set up with Toad. And just as I suspected here, we got Luigi coming in for this level. You can actually make it over this gap quicker. And with Luigi, you can get in here and take a key. And so he's going to go for the key kill on Birdo, which would actually save a little bit of time over Mars.
Yeah. All right, so Mars through there. ymgc now ready to do the key kill on Birdo. There it is.
There it is. Nice kill.
All right, so Mars in 1-3 here.
Yeah, I was going to say here in 1-3, you're going to see your first warp. So Mars is going to pick up a potion right here. And he's going to throw it. Ooh, going for the risky strat, throwing the potion on top of this vase here. Going to go down, and this is going to warp him to, I can never remember the number, World 4. And so from World 4, you're actually going to see a save and quit right here. And then he's going to actually use the menu of All-Stars. All-Stars thinks he's made it to World 4, so you can choose any world previous to that to start your game again. So he's going to choose World 3, and we're going to see a warp to World 5 here.
And this is definitely different from the NES version. You wouldn't be able to save and quit and go back to World 3, but on the All-Stars version, this is faster, so that's why they do that, and it's makes it a very different speedrun than the NES version of the game.
It does for sure. Yeah, if you reset your console on the NES version, you're just going to have to start over from 1-1. So don't try that at home unless you've got the All-Stars cart.
All right, so Mars going with Luigi, of course, in 5-1. This is a pretty fun level. I like this level.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to watch and fun to play. And there's a lot of little tiny optimizations in this level to like not bonk your head and.
Yeah, you gotta hold the A button down there on that big jump so that you make sure Luigi doesn't fall as fast, because otherwise you won't make that jump. So there's just all these little subtle things that I didn't even know about until this tournament came around, because I'm not an SMB2U runner myself, but holding that A button down is one of those keys there in this level. But it's really cool platforming to watch.
Yeah, even though ymgc's definitely lost a little bit of time here and there to Mars over the course of this run, he's catching back up, and he's fighting this Birdo that Mars just defeated. So he's kind of catching back up here a little bit.
Yeah, and Mars having a little bit of trouble with these ladder jumps here going for with Luigi. So the ladder jump, basically, you have a few frame window. It's different for each character, and it's also different depending on the way you do the jump. But if you kind of hold a direction as you go off the ladder and then you jump, you have a few frame window where Luigi or the other character will actually be able to jump off of the ladder or the vine, as you're trying to see Mars do here now, and he's just, there he goes. He's finally gotten to the rhythm there. So that's a pretty difficult technique there, but it certainly is a little bit easier with Luigi because he has a wider window than the other characters to do this.
Right. It varies a little bit depending on how you do it, but you'll hear most runners say that Luigi has an 8-frame window and every other character has a 3-frame window. So it is a little bit easier with Luigi in most cases, but controlling Luigi altogether is still pretty awkward. So
yeah, and you see ymgc also struggling a little bit. He actually ended up getting a couple green transitions because he fell back down, so that'll cost him a little bit of time. So vine jumps, even though 8-frame window, are still not the easiest things to do, especially in a race, especially when the adrenaline's going.
I mean, 8-frame window, that's still what, it's still
just over 0.1 seconds.
Right, yeah. It's a very tight window.
And this Birdo fight is quite the doozy here. You've got the fish bouncing up down. You've got Birdo who's shooting eggs and fireballs not necessarily alternatingly, but sometimes eggs, sometimes fireballs. You've got a gap there, so it's a pretty tough Birdo fight.
All right, we're going to see Mars take this warp to World 7. So this is going to be our last 2 levels of this game before we move on to Mario 3, and ymgc warping right behind him.
Yeah, this will be very interesting because Mars is a very accomplished SMB3 player as well, as is ymgc. So ymgc really going to want to make up some time here in the World 7 on Mars. So
yeah, one thing I think we didn't talk about is that ymgc has been going back and forth for a few years on the world record for this all for any percent category. Currently sitting at a very close number 2. Mars just making his way into the top 10. I think he's 8th is last time I checked. I haven't checked today.
He's right now with the 34.52, yeah. But there have been many world record holders in this category, but ymgc for many years has been always, if not holding the world record, at least battling with somebody for the world record. And not just any percent, but all 4, all 5, any percent, warpless, 100%. He is one of the true legends of the All-Stars category.
Absolutely, yeah. When you think of like the history of world records for All-Stars, ymgc's name is there every time for sure.
No doubt. And I mean, like I said, he's had battles with Darbian and so many others throughout the years in the different various all 4, all 5 warpless 100% categories. But Mars still maintaining a bit of a lead heading into our final world. So he's taking Toad here and climbing up the chain and getting ready to face off against Wart.
Yeah, nice chain jump there from Mars. So basically the players will do a chain jump right there, and it's the same as like a vine jump or a ladder jump, but they'll use it to skip basically the entire level. And by doing that, you come down here, this Birdo, you normally have to defeat this Birdo to get this key to get into the door to fight Wart. But if you skip over the level like that, the key just kind of separates from Birdo. You don't even have to fight Birdo at all. And the whole thing when I was saying, I was kind of like talking about ymgc being so great and Mars being like, a new up-and-comer who's doing really well, is just to say that no matter what happens here in this Wart fight in Mario 3, close there from Mars. No matter what happens here from, in this last game, in these last few minutes of this fight too, even if Mars somehow pulls this out and beats this former world record holder, I wouldn't call this an upset at all because Mars is, like I said, very up and coming. But there's a whole other game left, so maybe I shouldn't get ahead of myself.
That's right. But Mars looking like he's killed Wart, so he is through 3 of the 4 runs in this speed run. ymgc not far behind at all. He's a few hits into Wart, feeding him these vegetables. What's with the Toad? These reptiles not liking vegetables or something. But that's kind of weird.
Eat your veggies, kids.
Mario, you have weird dreams, dude.
Right. That whole last game was all a dream, by the way. This one is actually a play. It's all set on a stage. If you look at the intro card and the credits of this game.
All right, so Mars.
Every Mario game kind of has its own theme, I guess.
That's right. Mars clean through 1-1. Beautifully done. No problems there at all whatsoever. And you're just going to see ymgc actually not going to mushroom up here. So a little bit of a varying strategy, Esmo. What's optimal for this one?
So optimal for this category, as far as I know, is getting the mushroom in 1-3, though it is a lot more comfortable as Mars gets the early P-speed in 1-2 there. It's a lot more comfortable for a lot of players to get the mushroom in either 1-1 or 1-2, and those would be about the same amount of time. So we're going to see ymgc go optimal here and get it in 1-3, I would assume. You have to get a mushroom before you go into the fortress, So
ymgc actually grabs his in 1-2, so all sorts of strategies going on here, and Mars grabbing his leaf in 1-3. And one of the things we should mention that could totally change the nature of this game is the hands in World 8. And so we're just setting up, basically all World 1 is doing is setting up the warp World 8. So we're grabbing a couple warp whistles as you see Mars grabbing the first of the two here in 1-3. And then he's going to head into this fortress and try to grab the second one. He needs to maintain his leaf here so that he can get all the way up to the top. But well, what I'm trying to say is we've got the dreaded hands here in World 8 that could really determine this, because these guys are within 20 seconds of each other, and one hand takes approximately 20 seconds. There are 3 of them, and it's a 50-50 shot whether you get a hand or not. So this could totally change the outcome of this game, would be just pure RNG.
Yep, if Mars gets 2 hands and ymgc gets 1 or 0, I mean, you could see a lead shift right there. ymgc very good with the tail pickup there. I don't actually know in this category, in the 80% no wrong warp category, if it's faster to get. I would assume it's faster to get the tail like ymgc did.
I think so.
Yeah, I know that's. I'm primarily a Mario 3 warpless runner, and that's how you get it in warpless. But haven't played a whole lot of this category in Mario 3. It's not quite as fun for me, but it's in a setting like this where you see 4 games back to back, it's definitely a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. So we are now into the Autoscrollers. Pretty much nothing you can do here to speed up the game. In SMB3 on the NES version, there's little spots where you can reduce lag. That'll help optimize your run here, because you'll get a lot of enemies on screen and so forth. But other than that, there's really little you can do. But on the SNES version, you get even less lag because the game is able to handle even more of the sprites and enemies and things like that. So it's just all about making sure you maintain your focus. Don't take a hit here in these auto-scroller levels.
Yeah, there is one thing, like you were saying, this auto-scroller, there's really not much going on. Just don't take a hit. The next auto-scroller, I'm going to assume from both players being at the high level that they are, that we're going to see a fire pickup, or an attempted fire pickup, at the beginning of the next auto-scroller. That'll be pretty interesting to see if they get it. It's a pretty tight window to get it. It's probably the trolliest power-up in the game by the developers, if you ask me, so we'll see how well they do it there, but until then, we just got to watch them kind of crawl through this stage.
Yeah, exactly. Get your resident airships out, your resident sleeper, resident smokies out if you got them, because that's auto-scrollers for you. Oh no, Mars taking a hit. That's going to be okay, because
that'll be okay.
He'll still get the fire flower, but it did cost him a little bit of time just from that animation of losing the power up. But he'll be able to still get the fire flower here in this auto scroller, and you can already see the question block that he's going to be aiming for.
Yeah, you can tell he's going for it because he's pushing himself up the right side of that screen to get down there as soon as possible, and he picks it up and makes it out of the gauntlet with
nicely
fire. So
done.
That's exactly what you want to see.
Oh, the damage may have been intentional. Okay.
What's that?
This, Rupert was saying the damage may be intentional in chat.
It might have been, yeah. It does, having the tail to get that fire flower does make it a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
As we see ymgc having no problem using the tail to get the fire there. But it just, when you move and jump with Mario, it almost feels like you're being like dragged down in this game. So it's just it definitely changes Mario's physics. So that must have been an intentional damage boost.
Yeah, and it probably comes down to runner preference at that point, because we saw ymgc keeping the tail there. So maybe a little bit faster to keep the tail, as I said, because you don't have that animation of losing the tail when you take that hit. But just really runner's preference. It's not a huge time loss at all that Mars took there. Yeah. But we are coming up on the hands. So let's get your guesses out in chat. How many hands and how many hands for ymgc?
I'm going to go 1 for Mars and 2 for ymgc.
I'm going to go 1 and 1.
1 and 1. We will see here. Got a guess of 15. I'm hoping we don't see 15 hands. That
We've
would
got
be
a 2 and a
new to me.
0, a 1 and a 1, a 0 and a 0. Mars
Right.
with 1 hand.
He does have to make it through this one. If he doesn't make it through this one, he might have to play more hands than this, but I don't think there will be any problem. This is a pretty easy hand to get through. Yeah, no problem here for Mars, and we'll find out for YMGC here. So I guessed 1 for Mars, 2 for YMGC. We got 1.
Esmo, you may be clairvoyant.
Yeah, I know you live in Vegas. Can you, like, buy me a lottery ticket or something like that?
I mean,
Just bet 88 on every table tonight?
you just saw what happened in the NASCAR race with me, so no.
Yeah.
All
and
right,
2 for YMGC.
2 for YMGC. Esmo calling it perfectly. Okay,
That's
maybe
great.
I do need to actually go to Vegas. But that'll extend Mars's lead. He will be ahead by almost 40 seconds now, just because he already had about a 15 or 20 second lead, and this will extend it by another 15 to 20 seconds. So he's 30 to 40 seconds here. So basically, as long as he doesn't hit Calamity in the latter half of World 8, which is a little bit, I would say, more of the skillful part, especially 8-1 can be a very tricky level, then he should take the victory, but you never know. This is far from over because Calamity can happen in races.
Yeah, just making a mental note there. That was a 30:08 on the orb grab, so we'll be able to get an exact time to see how far ahead he is when YMGC grabs this orb. 8-1, here we go. We got to see what Mars is made of right here, because this is a very tough level. And if he is watching, if it were me and I was watching this, I might elect to play this a little bit safer.
Yeah, and I'm curious if Mars knows his position relative to YMGC's as well. Does he have the stream open or anything? Because that can also influence your decisions if you know.
A little bit of safety there in the beginning of 8-1, but 8-2, the last half of that stage was very good for Mars.
So it's about a 41-second difference. It was a 30:49 for YMGC's orb grab. So about a 41-second difference. By the way, I should remind everybody, we have another race right after this, so don't go anywhere. We're going to stay right here on Speed Gaming 2 for another matchup. That is going to be another winner's bracket matchup between the 2 seeds, ZZZ PC and LK431, 2 of our Japanese runners, and their PBs are within 25 seconds of each other, so probably in for another amazing race. So just wanted to plug that real quick. It is going to come right at the top of the hour. That'll be at 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Pacific time, and I don't know what Japan time.
We'll just say 23 minutes from now.
That's right.
Wherever you are in the world. Mars had a good 8-2. YMGC had a little bit of trouble in 8-1 there, but making it to 8-2 now. Hopefully he'll be able to keep his fire through here. Good hill climb. Yeah, he should make it through here as long as the sun is nice to him, and it looks like it's going to be. Mars making it through the last fort of the game, besides Bowser's fort at least. So I think Mars has actually opened up a even wider lead here, maybe even like a 1-minute lead.
All right, one more auto-scroller for Mars here. YMGC, we'll see if he's able to get this P-switch cycle, which will be coming up in this next room.
I didn't see if YMGC used a star in 8-1, but I noticed he didn't use it in this fortress, which is where most people would use it. But either way, does a good job of keeping his fire all the way through there, and does make the 1-cycle P-switch.
Yeah, very nicely done there. And Mars, of course, going with the Oglib strategy that I'm not going to attempt today.
Well, you would think by looking at it now, but at the beginning of the stage, he was actually hopping around, kind of making me a little bit nervous with these cannons. He hasn't been going for the full strategy.
All right.
But he is now. He's sticking to the strat now, so...
It's this a really nice strategy.
It's a great strategy. If you got fire or a tail, just stay at the far right of the screen. Just keep holding right the whole time. If you end up picking up a bomb, just jump and throw it off screen. It's going to despawn, and just keep mashing that B button.
Yeah.
You will not get hit. And this is definitely not a level where you want to play around with it, right here at the end.
No, you definitely don't want to play around and just have fun, goof off, and do different things because you lose that fire flower. That's not going to be good for when you have to face Bowser. So we really need to see if Mars keeps this fire flower here. That is going to be the key to ending this speed run for him. He cannot take a hit here. That will allow YMGC the opportunity to catch back up.
Yep.
And that's because killing Bowser is so much faster in this game with fire.
Absolutely, yeah. Bowser takes 35 fireballs, and as long as you can get those 35 fireballs out, then he's done. But otherwise, you gotta wait and wait and wait for Bowser to break the floor underneath him. All right, last room here. Mars going for the risky P-speed strategy here, but makes it through just fine.
Perfect.
As long as Bowser doesn't hit him, doesn't give him a weird pattern and hit him. Ooh, that was kind of close there. Mars doing a good job unloading on Bowser here, though. And you can actually jump on Bowser's head. That might have made some people nervous, but you can actually bounce off of Bowser's head. But very, very big GG out to Mars. Looks like this is going to be a sub-35 finish for him.
Really nice speed run for Mars. Get your GGs out. Technically an upset by the seeds, but as you mentioned, Esmo, when we're playing at this level, anything can happen. It's not as much of an upset as you would think with runners at this high of a level. Also, especially with the hands and the way these things can happen, it can keep these races really close between 1 seed and 8 or 9 or 10 seeds. And so, really nicely done for Mars. He will be moving on in the winners bracket. YMGC is not eliminated as we see him going for the Bowser kill, and looks like he is nicely killing Bowser there. But YMGC not eliminated from the tournament. This is a double elimination tournament. What's going to happen here is YMGC is going to go into the third round of the second chance bracket, where he'll await one of several potential runners, either Rupert, Elder Spork, or GTA. So that's going to be a bloodbath of bottom half of the bracket there. With YMGC facing either GTA's Rupert or Spork, 3 incredibly accomplished runners as well. So GG's out to both runners. YMGC 35-38. Mars with a 34-52. So in the end, it was about a 46-second difference. Congratulations to Mars. And
speaking of Mars, Mars is joining us here in the commentary right now. Mars, big GG.
Thanks.
How did you feel about your race overall? Was that actually a PB? It was really close to your PB time, 34-52, and it looks like you got a 34-52.
Yeah, my PB delta says plus 0.0. If I got the one-up clip in Bowser's Castle first try, that would have been like a 2-second PB, so that's like a tied PB.
Yeah, so you tied it down to the decimal almost. That's incredible. We'll have to frame count your
yeah.
Frame. But hey, congratulations on a potential PB in a race. Also taking down the 1 seed YMGC. Talk us through your run overall. Talk us through SMB 1, 2J, 2U, and 3, and how you felt about every one of the runs.
Well, SMB 1 was pretty good. I played a little bit of it safe because I didn't want to mess up, so it was a little bit slow, but not too bad. And then SMB 2J, it was pretty good. I saved 10 seconds over my previous match. I'm in it, so it wasn't too bad. Also played some stuff safe in there.
Yeah, I think the only really significant time loss you had in 2J was when you got the super jump. We thought you'd made it up, and then you back down. But other than that, I mean, 1 and 2J, you were flying through both of those. And then you went on to 2U. How did you feel about that run?
1 was a little bit slow, but I saved like 10 seconds in that game over my my previous match. So I was about 20 seconds ahead going into SMB 3 over my my previous match. It was I think an 8:45. So that's about 7 seconds from my SMB 2U PB. So that went pretty good. And then Mario 3 was really good. I think that was like an 11:51 with one hand, so that wasn't bad. I could have had like a mid 34 4x, but I think I played a little bit sloppy in that game, so it kind of killed it. But that was also pretty good.
Were you one thing we were kind of talking about? Were you watching the stream? Did you have the stream open? Did you know like how much of a lead you had going into World 8?
No, I didn't have the stream open.
Okay, I was like, there was one part in the beginning of 8-1. I was like, I don't know if he's taking us. Like, there's a little bit of safety here, and I think he may know that he's about 40 seconds ahead here. So, but yeah, it was really awesome to watch, and like we were saying on the stream that even though this is Mars the 4 seed beating the 1 seed and former world record holder, we wouldn't call this an upset because we know how hard you've been working and how great of a all-stars runner you've become. So GG.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I bet it was a bit of a relief when you got to the hands and you went right past the first two. I'm sure that felt good.
Yeah, I was expecting to get the first one because that's like a 90% chance you get that hand.
It seems like
it feels like it during races.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've been having some good hand luck. Karma probably for the next run, but I got 0 hands last time and 1 hand this time, so probably 2 hands next time.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, you never know. 0 hands again, but hey, you are moving on to the semifinals of the winners bracket. Now, this isn't the overall semifinals, of course, because then after the finals of the winners bracket, it'll be the finals versus the grand finals. So you will be facing either ZZZ, PC, or LK431, who are actually going to be facing off here in 15 minutes. What are you looking forward to from that matchup between the two of them?
So I am very excited for that match. I know both of them, they've had, I think, like one other match before, and they both were like 10 seconds apart. So this should be very close, and I'm excited to face either one.
Yeah, and also, why don't you talk about ymgc as well, and just getting the opportunity to face the former world record holder and also the world record holder in many of the other all 4 categories, whether it's any percent, warpless, all 4, all 5, etc. This is, I think, your first time facing him in a race, right?
Yeah. He's just like a really good runner, and I really expected him to get like around the time that I got, because he got like a 34.54 last time he raced. So I was expecting to be like neck and neck with him in World 8, depicting that I was on sub 35 pace. So he's just a really good runner, and I feel like he'll do really good in the bottom bracket as well.
And one other question I have here. So that, as you mentioned, the bottom part, got a lot of incredible runners left. We have Rupert, Elder Spork, GTAce, Revelite, Roy LT, and ymgc. That's just going to be a bloodbath, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This tournament has really brought out like a lot of really good players, and there's not a ton of people in this one like you would see in like an SMB1 or an SMB3 tournament, but the people who did sign up for this tournament and who are participating are just really top-notch runners. So yeah, there's never going to be an easy match in this tournament, basically.
Alrighty, well, any final words you have here, Morris?
Well, thank you for the GGs, and a GG to ymgc. He did pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. So that'll do it for this particular match. I think we're going to go on a little bit of a break here before we join up in the next match, which of course will be LK431 versus ZZZ PC. That is coming up in 13 minutes from now, so don't miss it right here on SpeedGaming 2. We're going to mute ourselves here. Myself and Esmo will be on commentary for that race as well, so we'll catch you back here in about a little over 10 minutes.
Yep, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Welcome everybody to the second match of our doubleheader tonight, or this if you are in Japan, but we are set for the number 2 seed versus the number 3 seed matchup. So that is the number 2 seed ZZZ PC versus the number 3 seed LK431. Both of these runners are Japanese runners, and alongside of me, which of course I am Takate, I have my good friend here and fellow commentator Esmo88. Esmo, how's it going?
It's going great. It's like we never even left.
I know, pretty much. Just a
Feels good to be back.
A little break to refresh our beverages, and yeah, I think this will be another very good match. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like we were saying earlier, we just saw the 1 versus 4 seed, now the 2 versus 3 seed. So you'd expect by the seeding and their PBs that it's going to be even tighter than that race that we just saw, which was already pretty tight. So as long as everything goes well for both of these runners, this should be just as good, if not better, of a race.
Absolutely. And speaking of PBs, as you mentioned, ZZZ he has a PB of 34 minutes and 21 seconds. LK, 34 minutes and 36 seconds. So 15 seconds apart in their PB. That's less than a hand, pretty much. So anything can happen in this race, and they are firing up, ready to go. They're going to go in traditional order as well, which means we're starting off with Super Mario Bros. 1.
Yeah, I always like to see, I know we've had a couple races, or we're going to have some races, spoiler alerts, that aren't in traditional order, but it's way easier for me to actually keep track of like what's going on if you play them in release order.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a freeze or something on ZZZ's side, but it was just the sync up, so we've got the clock synced up now.
We did see a touch of a stair boss,
Yeah.
Touch of a stair boss from LK, but we are now heading into 1-2, and I'm expecting both runners to grab the Fire Flower here, as is optimal for this category. Nicely done by both runners. And the next tricky stuff will be this section here, where you gotta fire some Koopas and Goombas out of the way, make sure not to get hit. Nicely done by both runners, and they are clean through the first half of 1-2. The latter half of 1-2 is all about just making sure you take the warp to World 4.
That's one thing I really like about seeing the any percents of these categories is like even at the highest level, you'll still see players get fired, not just because it's safe, but because like, well, I guess because it is safe, but like they're not trying to save every single frame yet. Like that's not how like the all 4 category has gone yet. So you still get to see them play with fire and get to shoot these enemies out of the way. So it's pretty fun.
Much more comfy, cozy, you know?
It is. For a platformer, for an intense Mario platformer, it's pretty cozy.
So we are heading into our second underground, which is 4-2, and what you're going to see here is you're going to see both of these runners duck under this little low ledge of blue blocks, and then they're going to unduck and then let go of all buttons, and that'll push them to the right, and that push to the right will help them trigger what's called the wrong warp. And basically they get pushed to the right of the screen without the screen scrolling, and by the screen not scrolling far enough, and beautifully done by ZZZ and by LK, both getting the wrong warp there perfectly, by not scrolling the screen there, they tricked the game into thinking they're actually taking the vine when they didn't take the vine.
It looks like maybe only a second separating these two now. A little bit of a slip up for ZZZ there in the warp zone, but LK making it through pretty darn good and only about a second behind. And here, another level where you just get to snipe all these plants out of the way. It's very fun to watch.
So Esmo, got a question here in chat. Can you explain the all 4 format to us?
The all 4 format. So what this is Super Mario All-Stars, which was released around the world by different names, but I think in Japan it was actually called Super Mario Collection. But in we call it Super Mario All-Stars here in the West, and what it is it's complete redesigns and remakes of Mario 1, Mario Lost Levels, Mario 2, and Mario 3. And you would even find some carts that actually have Super Mario World packaged with it. But this is just all 4 games reimagined with like newer graphics. It's the same game exactly, with newer graphics, slightly different physics in some cases. But that's basically what it is. They race all 4 of these games back to back. Oh, I'll let you take the bad news there.
Taking a death there. We saw him lose Fire Flower there, and unfortunately, having to go small, he was going across that big gap jump and just must have pressed A just a tiny bit late, and that caused him to fall down the pit and go back to the beginning of 8-2. And unfortunately, in World 8 of SMB1, and we see LK take another hit there to the Piranha Plant. So I don't know if nerves are getting to him or what's going on, but definitely not the optimal 8-2 that he wanted. But yeah, just a couple tiny little mistakes there, and LK taking a death and opening up an early lead for ZZZPC. Now, of course, this run is far from over. Anything can happen. We are right at the beginning of a 34, 35-minute run, so anything can happen, but certainly not the start you want to get off to here in 8-2 for LK.
Yeah, LK electing to play these Hammer Brothers safe and stopping to get this mushroom, which I think is definitely the good call here. Otherwise, it could get very scary here for him. So now he's got a mushroom to get him through the end of this level. Hopefully, he'll keep it into 8-4. It looks like he's going to. And does get 6 fireworks here, unfortunately. So that's going to widen the lead a little bit more as we see ZZZ. We haven't even looked at his screen. He's in the second to last room of the game.
Yeah.
Before he moves on to lost levels.
Also using the duck swim strategy so that if you duck and then press the swim button while Mario's on the ground in the intersection, that'll basically turn Mario into a ducked version of his hitbox, or a crouched version of hitbox. So ZZZ already through SMB1 with a round of 5-11, so nicely done. LK, meanwhile, having to take it a little bit safe because he doesn't have Fire Flower to snipe some of these enemies out of the way. So that's just opening up the lead even further for ZZZPC. But again, far from over. SMB2J may be the most trolly of the speedruns in this group of 4 speedruns here. So far from over. We also have the hands at the end of SMB3, which are random, which could cost you up to a minute of time versus your opponent. So as long as this race is within a little more than a minute, it's still far from over because of the RNG that is possible at the end of this speed run. ZZZ on to 1-2. Meanwhile, LK finishing SMB1, and he's going to be starting SMB2J.
Yeah, so we're going to see, I'm going to guess similar strategies where instead of, in Mario 1, you saw him pick up Mushroom and Fire Flower in 1-1 and 1-2. You're going to see him pick up a Mushroom in 1-2 and then 4-1. They'll pick up their fire. You see ZZ kind of delaying to get a little bit of a higher platform here. That's an interesting strat to save a couple seconds to get into this warp zone area. So he is going to stop and pick up the mushroom here.
One thing we should mention,
up the plans to jump over. Go ahead.
Is LK actually chose Luigi for this game. We see that in our both players chose Mario, but in SMB2J, you also have the option of picking Luigi, which has slightly different physics than Mario. He jumps a little bit higher. He's a little bit harder to accelerate and stop. Not as bad as the FDS version of this game, but still a little bit bad. More. Yeah, still a little bit more ice skatey, if you will. But there's also some, because of his higher jumps and things like that, there are some different strategic, both advantages and disadvantages to using him. But it's really just runner's preference. In the end, it doesn't cost you a whole bunch of time to use one runner or the other. But it can be a little bit of a nice safety strat to use Luigi in races.
Right. And I think due to Luigi's higher jump height, he actually did save a little bit of time there getting over that wall towards the warp zone, not having to wait on those platforms to rise up.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you pointed out that this is Luigi, by the way, because me being red-green colorblind, I probably wouldn't have even noticed for the whole race. So.
Oh my goodness! Did not know that about you. Learned something.
I am.
But the interesting thing about this versus to USA is you do not get to change characters throughout this speed run. So once you pick Luigi or you pick Mario, you're stuck with them the rest of the run. Whereas in SMB2U, every time you go to a different level, or even in the All-Star version, even if you take a death, you can change characters if you want.
Now, you could, I don't know if there's any rules against a against this, but you could theoretically save and quit and then pick Mario if you started out with Luigi. But I know in just like the single game categories that's not allowed, so
Yeah,
I doubt that would be allowed here, or I doubt they would even go for that.
Right. Yeah, I'm talking non-save quit version.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to switch characters. So, meanwhile, ZZZ PC, we filled in some nice time into kind of the boring levels of this speedrun. ZZZ now into 4-4, coming up to the climb. Everybody, get your climb emotes out. But doesn't quite get the clip there, but that's okay. Doesn't need it. He's got a nice, comfortable lead. And then there's a little bit of a difficult section here at the end where you've got, fire flower, or not flower, but a fireball from Bowser, a Potaboo, firebar, and you got to fire kill Bowser. Nicely done by ZZZPC. Really fast fire kill on Bowser.
Yeah, that was very quick. Seeing that from him, we'll see the big difference here. We'll be able to see right off the bat is LK definitely electing to stay small this whole time, so you're not going to see a fire kill here on Bowser. That is going to cost him a little bit of time waiting on the bridge animation to take Bowser down. So we see ZZZ into 5-1, and again, if you were here for the last race, you'd know that there is a super jump coming up at the end of this level, and I'm wondering if he's going to go for this, if either player is going to go for this.
Meanwhile, LK got the forward Bowser, so he was able to run right under, which is always very nice.
That's definitely lucky.
Takes a bonk there, and gets the awkward Koopa pattern because of that bonk, and so we have to go. And pretty quick climb, though, for ZZZ. Minimal time loss, but that one bonk did cost him the opportunity to even go for the super jump just because it ended up throwing off the Koopa pattern there.
Yeah, still a good climb regardless. We'll see if LK goes for the super jump here. That'll catch him back up a little bit. He'll get a little bit of time back from that.
Oh!
I think that was a purposeful delay strategy there, is what it looked like from ZZZ.
Yeah, that could have been. You just don't normally see that strategy, but
yeah,
caught me off guard for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really nice climb up the vine. Yeah.
I didn't see. Did LK get the super jump?
I missed it as well. I was watching the vine climb, so chat, I'm sure, can chime in.
Sat here talking about the super jump this whole time and didn't even pay attention. Shame on us.
No. I think he did the climb. I think he did the climb.
Okay.
I remember seeing Luigi climb coin blocks.
Okay. We're gonna see a bottom route here from LK. That's pretty interesting. You don't see that a whole lot. But being with small Luigi, definitely easy to go that bottom route, so can't blame him there.
Also very nice.
Very good line and climb from him too.
And ZZZ on into 8-2. LK making his way into the warp zone of 5-2 to warp world 8-1. So about a level behind still. You know, after he took that death, it's pretty much been, obviously the levels are different lengths, but it's been about a 1 level difference between the two this whole time ever since LK took that early death. And he did have a little trouble there. We'll see ZZZ meanwhile. Gonna spawn his vine. Doesn't get the double bounce, but at least he didn't go down the pit or break that other brick there. So he's able to get the vine, and LK getting some interesting Hammer Brothers there that he's able to dodge.
Yeah, I was clenching a little bit there and then kind of realized halfway through it seemed like he knew exactly what he was doing. So a little bit of different Luigi strategy there, it seemed like. But it works out for him. He gets through safely.
So still about a 1 level difference. ZZZ into 8-3. LK, it's his turn to reveal this hidden vine in this block that's above the Koopa here. And again, it can be a little bit treacherous. You want to make sure you don't fall down the pit there. As small Luigi, doesn't worry about breaking that brick, but you definitely want to make sure you don't fall down the pit there, because then you're going to be restarting 8-2 all over again.
We see him hitting the flags of their two respective levels at almost the same time. So yeah, still almost exactly 1 level apart. With 8-4 being a pretty long level, we might see LK in 8-4 at the same time if 8-3 goes well for him here.
Yeah, we should mention, because LK is small, he won't be able to take the advantage of fire killing Bruce not Bowser, but at least fire killing Bruce out of the way. So if Bruce doesn't throw him a forward pattern, then that would be a little bit of a time loss there versus ZZZPC, who has the opportunity to fire kill Bruce out of the way. Bruce, of course, being the first of the two Bowsers in the final room, and LK is through 8-3, so we will see both runners in 8-4 at the same time because of the length of 8-4.
ZZZ in this long hallway here, we are gonna see. We'll see how he decides to take on these two Paracoopas. A little bit of a slowdown. Snipes the first one, bounces off of the green one. Very good from ZZZ.
Bruce, 3 for 3 forward tonight.
What's going on tonight?
Here? What a man! What a pal! I love Bruce.
Yeah. and a 4 Bowser as well.
Bowser. Holy cow! We've only had one of the 6 Bowsers, I think, has been backward. Everybody else has been forward. We're about to see 7 and 8 coming up with LK, as long as he makes it through this room okay.
It looked like he almost overshot and ended up in the lava there, but glad to see that didn't happen. And we'll see a different strategy from here as Small Luigi, and he just bounces high off of that red Koopa and gets right over.
All right, one more chance at Bruce. Not the friendliest Bruce I've ever seen, but still able to go through, and he will come up to Bowser next, and just got to make sure you don't take a hit from any of Bowser's hammers, Bowser's tail. Bowser not being a bro either, kind of throwing a trolley pattern, and LK gets through 14:41 on the timer, and he will head on to SMB2U. Meanwhile, ZZZ already at the first.
I was just going to say, interesting to see ZZZ is taking almost the exact same strategy as ymgc did in the last race. So I wonder if this is like a strat that the Japanese runners have shared with each other. Taking Luigi, and we see Luigi for LK as well, and doing a funny little bomb pickup and damage boost there to get into Birdo's room here at the end.
Yeah, I mean, certainly each runner has their own preferences, and there's probably certain groupings based off of who are friends with who.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we're gonna see another attempted.
Ooh.
Okay. ZZZ having a little bit of a slip up there in the grab area, but he's gonna go for the key kill, and now he's having some trouble getting up to the top here with the super jump here. But we're gonna see the key kill on Birdo from ZZZ, and meanwhile LK is at the 1-1 Birdo.
Yeah, we were lucky that that Fanto wasn't in like a bad spot for ZZZ there. Kind of a little bit slippery on some of his jumps, like jumping up off the Ninja to get to the top there with the key. Fanto could be in a weird position, but luckily he's able to avoid him pretty easily.
Remember how we mentioned they're a level apart? They're a level apart.
They're still a level apart. In a different game now.
Exactly. All right, so now it's LK's turn to go for the key kill, and he has a nice, much more clean escape, and gets up to the top there, no problem. So he's going to make up some time there on ZZZ in 1-2. Meanwhile, ZZZ hitting the Warp to World 4, and then we're going to see him save and quit and go back to World 3.
Yeah, actually a cleaner key kill there from LK. So I would say maybe in addition to not messing up, jumping up to the top there, saved another 4 seconds from getting an early Birdo cycle with her egg there.
Yeah, so very nicely done by LK, and pulling back some time. And it's just interesting when you have these all 4 races, because each runners have their own strengths and preferred runs and preferred strats, and I'm not as familiar with LK and ZZZ on what their preferred games are of these 4, but maybe it's that LK prefers SMB2U, maybe not, and is able to catch up. We saw in the previous round, Mars really opened up a lead in 1 and 2J, and then in 2U, ymgc started to pull it back. Of course, the hands in World 3 in SMB3 made a big difference for Mars's favor, but you did see a little bit of a rubber band effect, so I'm sure each runner has their own strengths and weaknesses within these 4 different games.
Interesting to see that ZZZ, I think he may just really be a fan of Luigi in this game, because he picked Luigi in the last level. Ooh, he makes that wall pixel there, able to get that corner clip. A level where LK is right now, where you'd normally just see Mario, because you don't have to switch over to pick Luigi for that level, and all you're doing is picking up a potion to warp. So just kind of interesting to see. I mean, I don't think it really changed anything with how the game was played, but interesting to see ZZ pick it up in that warp level.
Yeah, so real quick question in chat was, why does quitting in World 4 take you back to 3? That's something they're doing on purpose. They are saving and quitting, and because they got to World 4, the game recognizes the fact that you got to World 4, so you can go back to any level prior to World 4, any world or level prior to World 4. So they choose to go back to 3. That way they can warp to World 5, and so 3, 5, 7 is quicker than 4, 6, and 7 is the main reason they do that. So on the NES version, you wouldn't be able to do that. On the SNES version, where you have this save and quit option, that's what the preferred route is, because it's a little bit easier and also faster.
Yep. As someone who has run, myself, I've run both versions. I've run any percent on the All-Stars version and on the NES version. And while I do think the NES version is a little more fun, I would say the All-Stars version with save and quit is definitely a lot easier and is definitely faster.
Alrighty, so ZZZ up to this most treacherous of Birdo fights. Missed the first throw, but got the second throw, and nicely done on the fish throw as well. Gets another egg and grabs the orb at 1924. So that'll give us an opportunity when we see the orb grab there at 1924 to see what time LK will grab the orb, and then we can measure the difference between the two runners.
Well, there was something I've been meaning to do this whole time. I'll wait till LK gets the orb, but got something a little fun in store for you guys.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. So yeah, we're gonna see ZZZ picking up this warp, and he's gonna warp to World 7. So only 2 levels left in this game for him, and we'll see how LK handles this fight. Gets
he
a
gets
fireball off the bat, and the fish takes the egg. And so he's just gonna have to go all eggs from here on out, unless he wants to go back to the left and spawn that fish. Or there you go. I should have been doing it the whole time.
So we had a 1924 and a 2009, so 5 difference between the two runners, which is certainly within the range of hands still being able to affect the outcome. And of course, any mishap from ZZZ will also rubber band this match. So we are not in a situation here where this is decided by any means.
Of course.
Beautiful ladder jumps, by the way.
As you're saying that, ZZZ making like the most incredible ladder jumps I've seen in a marathon ever, or in a tournament race ever. Pretty clean 7-1 from ZZZ there.
LK into 7-1 himself, but nice platforming there. That can always be a little tile platforms there that you want to make sure you do not miss, otherwise you'll be falling down a gap and taking a death and restarting the level over.
We saw ZZZ definitely taking a risky jump there at the beginning of this level, and again, like dodging, like weaving through the ninja too, so we'll see if he makes this change. Ooh, a little bit iffy there on that first jump up the chain, but he does get over.
Yep. Yeah, so that chain jump with Toad is, I believe it's a 3-frame window. Is that correct, Desmond?
That is correct.
And LK also making nice work of these ladder jumps. With Luigi, just a little bit of an issue there, but no big deal. The prior screen there, he crushed it. So those with Luigi are a little bit wider of a window, 7 or 8 frames, I believe, is what it is, right, Desmond? Yeah,
about 8 frames on average. So we see LK definitely having to take it a little bit safer in that Birdo there because he was small going in. And we should see a pretty good fight from ZZZ here. I've seen his warp fights before with the over-the-top throws, and that's he times them out so well. It's really a pretty awesome fight to watch from ZZZ.
This is an incredible strategy.
Yeah, those jumps that he's doing up there, he's kind of timing when he needs to throw based on those little jumps that he's doing.
Really nice warp fight.
That's about as clean as it gets right there.
And LK making clean work of his chain jump there. First try, no problem.
And we got a fanfare skip from ZZZ too.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us about that?
So the fanfare skip is you can do it on the Japanese version or the US version. It's easier to do on the Japanese version because you can try more times, I think. You really have to do it frame perfect on the US version, but what you do is you basically pause and unpause as the fanfare starts. and it basically cancels. It makes it to where you can move while that final fanfare is happening, and you can enter that door without having to wait for that whole fanfare music to play. So it saves a few seconds if you get it correctly.
So you see LK doing a little bit different strategy, of course, on Wart than what ZZZ did. But he has his own rhythm to this, where he's doing toe jumps. But it is his turn to fight Wart. Meanwhile, ZZZ already into a 1-2 of SMB3.
Yeah, that's definitely something you want to do if you're going to start running this game, Mario 2. That Wart fight is just crucial to the runs, and it's learning the timing and figuring out what helps you remember the timing is definitely crucial. So both players with very, very good strategies there seem to be working out for both of them.
Yeah. So LK into SMB3. Now both runners are in all 4 category. This is SMB3 any percent. LK in 1-1. ZZZ PC meanwhile getting the warp whistle in 1-3. So he's a couple levels ahead. But again, the great equalizer is the hands in World 8. So this is not over. And LK, as long as he runs super clean, he has a chance to at least put the pressure on ZZZ PC.
Yeah, this is within striking distance for sure. We see a good tail pick up there from ZZZ. And I think we'll see what LK does if he goes for the tail pickup in the fort or if he's going to go for it in 1-3. But a good first couple levels. I don't want to curse it before LK finishes this, but yeah, good first couple levels from LK there, and good first 4 levels there from ZZZ as well.
Certainly nicely done by both runners so far in SM3, pretty clean. And ZZZ PC into World 8. Time for some auto-scrollers, time for some resident sleepers, resident airships. Get all those things out if you got them. But no, there's still, as we mentioned in the previous race, you still want to make sure you keep your concentration and your focus in these auto-scrollers. I know it's not as exciting, but you really, really do not want to take hits in these areas because that'll just, put you in a more vulnerable state. It'll also cost you time. And really the idea is to keep your sharpness and your focus for when you actually get into levels where, like 8-1 and 8-2, where you actually need to use some various strategies and skill. Yeah,
and it's like you were saying, it's very easy to be lulled to sleep in these auto-scroller levels, like just thinking, oh, it's moving so slow, there's nothing I have to worry about. But there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of bombs, there's a lot of cannons, there's a lot of wrenches being thrown around, some fire sometimes.
Lulled to sleep?
Lulled to sleep, yeah. There you go. I see it in chat now. Oh, man. But yeah, it's very easy to just kind of mess around and take these levels for granted, and then you go into the next level without the power-up that you're expecting to have, and it's, in a race like this, you can't reset. For sure. So both runners now in the resident sleeper airship smoky section of the run. But that gives us a little bit of time to prompt. We've got another race coming up. Depending on your area, either tomorrow or Tuesday. Technically, it's Tuesday at 1:30 in the morning East Coast time, but that's really Monday night Pacific time at 10:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's going to be between Rupert, who is the organizer of this tournament, Rupert83, and the Elder Spork. And that'll be on SpeedGaming 1, or SpeedGaming with no 1 after it, just the original SpeedGaming. So make sure to tune into that tomorrow night at 1:30 in the morning Eastern, 10:30 p.m. Pacific time. Speaking of resident sleeper, Rupert doing that very late game that I'm not going to be able to watch. It's going to be too late for me, but good luck to both runners in that race. Yeah, I think I can probably hop on commentary on that one. I know we don't have any up, so I'm going to sign up right now as we're speaking. Hey, there we go. Be proactive. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, let's focus on the race here. Both runners continuing through these auto-scrollers, but it's time to guess which runner is going to get. This 50-50 shot. There are 3 possible hands that you could get. So there's a 1 in 8 shot of getting 0 hands, 3 in 8 shot of getting 1 hand, a 3 in 8 shot of getting 2 hands, and a 1 in 8 shot of getting 3 hands. Let's hear the hand guesses. Get them out now.
How many for ZZZ? How many for LK? Let's do ZZZ first, LK second.
ZZZ, I'm going to say 1 hand.
And LK?
3.
Ooh. I'm going to say... Let's have some fun here. I'm going to say 2 for ZZZ and 0 for LK.
Oh. I mean, that's what I would like to
race
see.
a little bit closer.
I would like to see
2 and
that.
0. I'm going to say 2 and 0.
Though. Yeah. All right, 2 and 0, and I'm guessing...
There's 1.
There's 1.
You said 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
All right. But we should say that these hands, if you do get pulled in, that'll cost about 20 seconds per hand. It's a little different depending on which hand you get. This is actually the shortest hand that you can get is the second hand. So if you're going to get pulled in by a hand... Oh, there's 1. Esmo, you've been right every single time.
If LK gets 3, I'm going out right after this race, and I'm buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah. Let me know what you want to put on the roulette wheel, and I'll place that bet for you.
All right. I'll put $1 on green.
But hey, if LK gets 0 hands, he'll still make up. So
True.
This race is not over. Plus, this I like the swag strats here by ZZZ, by the way, the backward flying.
Yeah. So ZZZ looks like he did forgo picking up fire. I think he did, or did he get fire in the boat? The boat auto-scroller. He's still got his leaf. I guess he didn't. Yeah, he's got his leaf here. He didn't pick it up and lose it.
First hand for LK.
First one. So he is going to be ZZZ is going to be probably picking up fire in the fortress. So another couple levels. All right, I'm feeling it. 2 more hands here. Not that I wish that on LK. Okay, there it is.
All right, well.
Another 1,
Don't
2.
go buy the lottery ticket.
Yep, nope, not tonight. Ooh, a little bit of uncertainty from LK there with his jumps, but he does make it through without losing fire.
Alrighty, ZZZ through 8-1, which is probably the most terrifying level in the whole, maybe the whole speedrun.
Yeah.
I was going to say just in SMB3, but considering the pressure of the situation, it could be maybe the most terrifying level in the whole speedrun.
I'd say it's either that one or this one, because this one you can do the same thing like every time, and that sun can just be in a different pattern, and you can have something like the sun can just get in your way and hit you.
Yeah.
Like it almost, I don't know how he didn't get hit right there, but it really looked like he was going to get hit.
But doesn't take a hit, and now he will go into the World 8 fort. And I'm taking the star here, of course, and we are going to see him grab the Fire Flower as well, because you want to hold on to this Fire Flower for killing Bowser. That's going to be the most important thing, is not losing that Fire Flower. There is a backup one in case you do happen to lose it early in this fort. There's another one you can grab, but you really don't want to lose this Fire Flower, because killing Bowser with fire is so much faster than waiting for him to break all the bricks.
Yeah, and we'll see if he makes it through on this one cycle. Looks good. Yeah, good one cycle on the P-switch there. We see LK making his way through 8-1 now. And having the same trouble that YMGC did, having trouble getting under there, and actually clips into it as the bullet bill's firing and loses his fire there.
Now, he will have an opportunity to grab Fire Flower, of course, in 8-1, but it just is extra time loss that he cannot afford. So ZZZ, meanwhile, into our final auto-scroller, LK heading into 8-2, but it's all these little things that can add up. You lose a Fire Flower here, you lose a tail there, then you have to go grab another one here or grab another one there, and it's all these little things that can add up. But really the big difference was the death that LK took in 8-2 of SMB1. It's pretty much been a couple level, 1 or 2 level lead for ZZZ the whole way ever since that death in 8-2 of SMB1.
Yeah, definitely. That's really been the major difference here.
That and then the extra hand for LK, but So we'll see what time they end up with at the end of this race. But I'm curious, outside of the 8-2 death and the extra hand, what the differential may be between these two runners here, because LK has run a really clean race other than that one death, and then of course getting the extra hand, which is out of his control.
Right, yeah. It's been a great race from both runners. Just one thing that was out of his control, and then just a small slip up in the first game that ZZZ has been able to hold that lead the whole time here. So as we see him going into Bowser's Castle, this will be the last level of the run.
Ooh.
And looking at about it's like a high 34, maybe right on the 35 cusp here for ZZZ. It should be like a high 34, I'm thinking.
Yeah, right around there. As long as he keeps it clean through the end of this last level, gets a good fire kill on Bowser, it'll be probably a high 34, 50 something. Right around what Mars got in the previous run.
Yep, he is forgoing the P-speed strat here, so I don't know if he knows how far ahead he is and just deciding to take it safe there, or just not comfortable with the P-speed strat in that last room because it is pretty tricky. And he's going to jump down and play Bowser pretty safe, let him come down to Mario. And that's it. That is the win for ZZZ.
All right, we'll see what the final time is on his timer. In SRL, I'm not going to spoil it, but he has finished in SRL.
I'm going to guess a 49?
49.
49.
In SRL is a 59, but yeah. Excellent run from ZZZPC. He has the fastest speed run of the night. There have been 4 speed runs tonight. We had a race earlier tonight between Mars and the number 4 seed Mars and number 1 seed ymgc, which Mars actually took the win with a time of 34:52. And this was a 34:49. So can you imagine if we had that just a couple seconds apart? Oh wait, we've already seen that in this tournament already, a run.
Yeah.
Very, very close. So that's the great thing about these tournaments is you get all sorts of races that are so close, and anything can happen. Any seed can win. And LK now making his way into the final castle. Let's go. Gets
a little bit of clip for swag there. That will actually save a little bit of time. Maybe not that it matters now, but always cool to see that clip. There is actually one more clip you can do in this room that'll take you straight to Bowser, but it is a little bit slower. And he's not going for that one, though. You don't see that one very often.
No, but it is fun to do for the lulz.
Sure, it's fun. If I had looked at SRL and seen that I was about that I'd already lost this race, I probably would have gone for it.
Absolutely. And
He's just
LK
gonna clean it up here.
making quick work of Bowser.
Yeah, about the same fire kill, same kind of pattern we saw from ZZZ there. And yeah, that's gonna be GG from both runners here.
Very nicely done by both runners. I think looking at the times here, this was only a minute and a half apart from each other, ballpark, minute 35 or so. It looks closer to 2 minutes, but in SRL it looks like about a minute and a half. Somewhere in the minute and a half to minute 45 ballpark, say. But that's still a really good run. Obviously, the one hand made it about a minute and 15, a minute 20 seconds. But other than that, really came down to 8-2 of SMB1.
Yeah, that was the only unfortunate thing to see there from LK's side. But both runners finishing according to their seed numbers. ZZZ, the number 2 seed, going to move on to face the winner of the previous match, Mars. So a 2 and a 4 seed in the upper bracket semifinals. So the 1 seed and 3 seed are going to be going down to the losers round, but still some very hard opponents to face down there to get back into the grand finals. So
that's
we'll
right.
be looking forward to seeing that.
LK will be moving on to the 3rd round of the second chance bracket, where he will face the winner of Revelite and Roy LT. So the 5 versus 9 seed matchup. So that'll be another good match and between Revelite and Roy. And then the winner of that will face LK, who just lost today. So still a lot of tough runners in this competition. But of course, we want to congratulate both runners, especially ZZZ for getting the win, but also LK. A nice race. and looking forward to the rest of the tournament. Esmo, you have any thoughts about the Mars versus ZZZ match?
That Mars versus ZZZ match. Honestly, that could be anybody's race too. I mean, we saw 4 great runners tonight and 2 great runners come out on top, and I mean that's another one that just could come down to hands or one small mistake.
Yeah,
so
I mean
that'll be a great one to see.
Both Mars and ZZZ got one hand tonight, and they finished 3 seconds apart. Now, of course, they didn't face each other, but if that were to be their match when they do face off against each other, that would be incredible to watch. So make sure to follow all these runners. Make sure to follow ZZZ. Make sure to follow Mars, ymgc, LK, and of course all the rest of the runners in the tournament as well. If you want to get a link to the tournament, I just threw in the command in chat there, SMAS. You can check out the bracket, you can check out the schedule, you can check out the Discord. We also want to thank our friends here at SpeedGaming for allowing us to have this tournament on their family of networks. So, of course, we're on SpeedGaming 2 right now. Tomorrow night, as we mentioned, will be the Elder Spork versus Rupert 83, and this is a second chance bracket matchup. Rupert is the number 6 seed, Elder Spork the 8 seed, so it should be a very close match. And that'll be on SpeedGaming, so twitch.tv/SpeedGaming, the original SpeedGaming channel in the family of networks here at SpeedGaming. So want to give a big shout out to them. Esmo, any final thoughts on this race or this tournament you got before we wrap up this episode?
I think we've said just about everything we need to say about the state of this tournament right now, but I do want to mention, just to give another plug for SpeedGaming, coming up next on SpeedGaming 2, we have a Mega Man 9 race between Sozman and Krebelstar, and that is part of the Mega Man 9 tournament that's going on right now. So if you're a Mega Man fan, I know I am, that'll be coming up in about 20 minutes right here on SpeedGaming 2, so stick around for that for sure. Other than that, that's about all I've got for tonight.
Alrighty, and that's going to wrap it up. One more tomorrow night at 1:30 in the morning Eastern. That is 10:30 p.m. Pacific time in the U.S. That is going to be Rupert 83, which is our tournament organizer and host. So let's give a shout out to Rupert in chat, and the Elder Spork in a battle to survive in this tournament. So until then, I am Takate, and for my host here, Esmo88, we will catch you all on the next episode. Have a great night, everyone, and congratulations again to all of our runners tonight, Mars, ymgc, LK, and ZZZ PC. Have a good night, everyone.
Take care, everybody.